Hey, Ezekiel, thank you so much. Doug McGowen is joining us in studio right now to talk more about where we stand with the restoration process. Doug, we're so glad that you're here to be as transparent and as open as you can be about what's going on. Give us an overview of where we stand right now and the damage that this storm did to our utility system.
Well, it certainly was a damaging storm, that Bo Echo storm that popped up and had a lot of energy that came across the county with winds in excess of 80 miles an hour. And I think many people saw that in videos and in their neighborhood. Had 140,000 customers out at our peak, and that was the 7th worst storm in our history. I'm glad to report that we've restored power to more than 92,000 customers. We have under 50,000 to go, but if you're one of those 50,000 customers, I want you to hear me say help is on the way. We are coming. We haven't forgotten about you. We will be working hard to get your power back on. We have brought in extra help. I know we had talked about having 250 extra linemen here yesterday. That number has bumped up to nearly 400 today. Plus all the tree crews that are out there. So you have 700 or 800 folks that are working very hard in our system. Now, we understand that it's frustrating that you don't know exactly when your power is going to come back on. As we get a handle on more outages today, I'll be able to get a little more precise by neighborhood and outage by outage. But today I still say by Thursday afternoon, we should have the vast majority of customers back on. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't tell people that. I know people don't like to hear that news, but what's worse is to sit home and not to know and to not make a plan. So I'm asking that everybody do make that plan. We've heard neighbors helping neighbors, and that's exactly what we want. I am so thankful for the support of the city and the county and all of the emergency resources. Mayor Young and his team have been incredible partners. There's resources for customers. You can go to the libraries or community centers today if you need a respite, if you need to charge the phone. There's obviously opportunities out there for food and water through the food bank that people are offering up, because we know that people have lost food in their refrigerators. I also want to say that we understand what an inconvenience this is. We apologize for the inconvenience you're suffering, but we are on the way to help restore your power.
Yeah, and for those 50,000 customers that are still in the dark at this moment, can you talk to us about the question that's on their mind? Probably the number one question: why is it taking so long?
Yeah, sure. Well, I would suggest that with the severity of the storm that we are going as fast as we safely can. You heard about the number of people that we have in the system. Now, restoring power is a hazardous job, as you still have energized power lines around. So we're moving as fast as we safely can. So we're about 36 hours into this now. We've got about 90,000 customers restored. That's a little ahead of the pace that I would have expected, or the industry would have expected for us. So I understand that every minute counts when you're the person that doesn't have the power, and that's why I'm asking that you make that plan. So we are getting to you the complexity of the restoration here. We have some very large circuits and substations that were damaged. Most of those substations have been repaired, and that's in good shape. The hospitals are all in good shape. That was our number one priority. We are now down to the circuits that serve residential and business areas, and you can see the numbers are falling hour by hour, which means our crews are out there working. And I do want to say, customers often say, I don't see anybody in front of my home. You saw the live shot you all just had. There's nobody on that street. But power comes to you from sometimes miles away. And so that may be where the problem is, not on your street. It might be a mile or two up the road, and that's where we're working to restore the power. So we are out there, we are working, and we're going to go as fast as we safely can.
All right. How confident are you that that Thursday deadline will stick?
I'm very confident that we'll have the very vast majority. There may be one or two or several small numbers of customers out there that have to roll over because of the complexity of the repair, but it's the best estimate that I have. And I had that early on when the storm came through, just looking at the number of outages and the amount of damage that we had. And so we're going to stick with that for now. Obviously, for the 90,000 customers who've been restored, we've certainly beat that estimate. But I want everybody to plan for that so that they can have a plan for success to get through until Thursday.
Okay. Is MLGW asking customers to conserve water, power, or both at this point, and why?
Yeah, we have plenty of power. The problem is just our ability to distribute it through those wires. And I asked yesterday, and I appreciate the customers helping us with that water conservation. We had to let our water pumping stations and treatment plants catch up because the reservoirs had come down. Many of the wells had lost power. They have recovered now, so people can resume with normal water operations as they might need to. But we're not asking you to conserve power either. It's a nice cool day out. Relatively cool compared to the temperatures that we've had. Certainly this morning's great, but no need to conserve power. We just need to fix the distribution system so we can get that power to our customers.
What is your biggest safety concern at this moment for people who are without power or even your crews?
Well, the number one safety concern I have for our customers is that we know that there were about 34 schools last night that were canceled. Memphis Shelby County Schools has made the decision not to send children to school today, which means kids are going to be outside, especially on a nice day today. There are still some lines down. We think we've identified most of them, but if you have a question and you see a line, please do not let your children be near there. If you see a tree that's leaning on a line, stay away from that because that tree can conduct electricity. That's the number one thing I'm concerned about in the neighborhoods. For our crews, the fear of additional falling trees and the complexity of restoration. When you have a lot of people working to get power on, we're trying to go fast. I want to make sure that they do it safely. We have a very specific process to make sure that everybody stays safe in that restoration. So it's always a concern when you have a lot of people in a dynamic situation in a system that is being put back together. So those are the key safety concerns I have today.
Mm-hmm. Is there a monetary amount that we know at this point of the damage that was caused to the system?
Well, we have to put a number out there at the beginning. So we know this is north of $10 million. It'll probably be approaching $14 to $15 million when it's all said and done. But that's our initial rough estimate. We have hundreds of poles and wires on the ground. We did bring in those 75 additional contracted crews. We have to pay for that, obviously. So that goes into the damage and the restoration overall cost. But we have a budget for this every year for emergency restoration. So I don't want folks to worry about that. We plan for this each and every year.
Mm-hmm. Do we have enough manpower at this point? I know you mentioned 400 linemen. Are we expecting to call in more? We
had more linemen arrive this morning. We have as many as we can safely manage in the system right now because, again, we've already restored power to 90,000 customers, so I want you to think about this. Originally, they were arrayed across the county. The areas they're working are getting smaller and smaller and smaller and more condensed, so you have more people working in a confined area. So right now, we are exactly on target with the number of people that we can safely put into the system. Obviously, should we need more, there is lots of assistance that's available. Elected officials have been looking out for us, offering assistance. Our friends at other utilities have offered assistance. There are contracted storm restoration companies that have offered assistance to us. So we have plenty of assistance at our fingertips. Today, we're just right at the point where we can't really have any more people in the system and do restoration safely.
Yeah, you know, so many of us in the Mid-South have fears of storms. And they just kind of make us a little anxious. Something that we were discussing earlier this morning is the storm of 2003, Hurricane Elvis. Is this storm that we dealt with Saturday, how is it similar or different from Hurricane Elvis? Because that was straight line winds as well.
Sure. I mean, it's the same phenomenon. And so this one was short duration, thankfully. And also, thankfully, we have done a lot of work in the system with a lot of the tree trimming, which kept the damage numbers lower than I actually would have expected based on the wind speeds that we saw. So that certainly was a devastating storm that we had back in 2003. I'm thankful this one was not as broad reaching, but still 140,000 customers is a very large impact to our system. I'm pleased that we are where we are. But I'm more concerned now about the 40-some thousand that are still without power, and we're going to keep working every day until we get 100% of our customers restored.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you would like customers at home to know?
I think that's it, really, just to make that plan. Don't just assume we're coming to your house next. I would ask that people who are able to help their neighbors, because there can be some individual outages in neighborhoods where a limb has fallen and taken that wire off the house. We'll be doing those individual customer restorations a little bit later in the process here, just because it only affects one customer. So if you have the opportunity to help each other, please do that. I've seen lots of reports of that happening. Not surprised in Memphis, Tennessee, because that's how people treat each other. So I want to thank everybody for coming together to support each other in this time of need.
All right. Doug McGowen, thank you so much. Last question for us, just for some housekeeping. When will we expect the next MLGW update?
We'll be giving an update throughout the day. You can expect there will be a press availability probably later this afternoon. The mayor and I did one yesterday. I'm not sure yet if it'll be live or virtual. I also send, just so you know, a written update to elected officials about twice a day so they can get the word out to their constituents. So, and then obviously you can follow us on social media, and we'll be posting throughout the day any updates that we have.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you stopping by.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Kevin, back to you.